Hey, hi everyone. Good evening. Good evening to all. Hi, how are you all? Let me know in the chat. Am I audible and visible to you all, guys? Hi, Amit. Hi, Man. Hi, Praveen. Good evening. Good evening, guys. I can see there are around 500 people. Let's call your friends, family members, cousins, whoever are interested in this Excel bootcamp to learn. I know everyone knows it's a very go-to thing that everyone must know about it. So let's call our colleagues as well. Hi, am I audible and visible to you all clearly? Just give me a heads up in the chat real quick, please. Yes, yes. Hi, good evening, Sakshi. Hello, Sudhanshu. Guys, my name is Anam Khan from Let's Upgrade, and I welcome you all to the Excel Bootcamp, which is for 3 days, and each day it will be a 1.5 hour session. So I hope you all are excited and will be there for the next 3 days with us. And if you guys have any doubt, anything related to the session, anything related to the Let's Upgrade site, please make sure that you put your queries in the chat. We are here, the trainer is here, the moderators are here to help you out and solve your queries. And guys, let me know from where you people are joining, in which field you are, and are you a beginner or already a pro student in the Excel. So yeah, we will just let's connect with each other. Hi Iqbal. Yes, guys, you will be getting a certificate on the when this program will get end. That is when the on the day 3 you will be getting your certificate. I will explain you all everything, like how to mark your attendance, how to from where you will get to join the sessions, and how can you download your certificate. Everything I will explain you. Just give me a minute. We'll wait for more 2 to 5 minutes. Till then, we can chit chat in the chat and let's know more about each other. Mumbai, Bangalore, Tamil Nadu. Okay, he knows basics. Okay, Lucknow. I am from Navi Mumbai, guys. Prayagraj. Okay, beginner from Mumbai. Okay, thank you, guys. Punjab, Hyderabad. Okay, I can see people have from various places. It's good to see. And guys, let's shall we move ahead for the attendance part? For the previous program you didn't got the certificate, check out just that you have marked your attendance or not. Other people have already got their certificate, so maybe it's some issue from your side, or you have not marked your attendance, that's why you haven't got it. So let's move ahead, guys, and I will share my screen quickly. Just let me know once in the chat if it's visible to you all or not. So my screen is shared. Just let me know here in the chat, is it visible to you all? Reality, is it visible? Yes or no, guys? Visible? Okay. So guys, let's move ahead with first of all how to mark your attendance. So here in the description box you can see for registration, attendance, LU coin, certificate, we have one link. We call it as a one link as everything you can find at one place. We'll click on this link and it will redirect us to the another page where you need to mark where you can mark your attendance. First of all, make sure that you have enrolled for the program. If you haven't, that you won't be able to mark your attendance. So as I have already enrolled, so it's not asking me again. And when we scroll down the page, here below the day 1 title, you can see mark attendance toggle. Click here. A rating scale will open from 1 to 10. You can rate it according to yourself, according to your experience. But I will suggest that please make sure, please mark your attendance after the session. You can mark it anytime during these 3 days of boot camp. So do not worry that when to mark, either we can mark it or not after the session, and blah blah. So yes, you can mark anytime. For now I will give 10 on 10, and here is a feedback box. If you have any feedback for us, maybe negative, positive, please make sure that you put it here. We will surely work on it. But for now I will give nothing and submit my attendance. So see here the toggle gets blue. So when you mark attendance, here also after you mark your attendance, the progress bar will increase. It will increase day by day as you mark your attendance. And on day 3, when the session will get end, on the same page below this progress bar, you will get to see download certificate option. So you can come to this page, mark your attendance, and get the certificate from the same page on day 3. So do not spam in the chat again and again. From where do we get our certificate? When we will get the certificate and everything. So, and if you guys have any queries, any doubts, or you want regular updates from us, daily invites, we have this communities Discord and WhatsApp. You can join us there to get regular updates. Also, we have this student ambassador program. So guys, related to the attendance, just go to the one link, click that link. You will be getting to mark you will be it will take you to another page, and then you can mark your attendance. So I hope for now the attendance thing is clear to you all. My voice is breaking. Where is the attendance link? Link is there in the description box. I will put it in the chat box also. Wait. So yeah, I have spammed the link in the chat also. So guys, moving ahead, let's move ahead. And we have this student ambassador program, which is a 1 month program, and it is free, no fees, no cost you have to pay. It's totally free, and you will also getting a ambassador certificate for it if you actively participate. There are certain targets you need to achieve for that, for getting for getting eligible for this gold, silver, and bronze swag. And we also give away this exciting rewards, that is ipad, gaming chair, smartwatch, earbuds. You can check out our social media handles to see that we genuinely give this. So, and you can in this program, basically you need to represent Let's Upgrade. You will be the ambassador for Let's Upgrade, and you will be getting to host hackathons also in your colleges. So yeah, if you are interested, so make sure that you are applying for this. The next batch will start from 1st of March. You have 10 days. If you apply, our team will connect with you. They will reach out to you for the further things. Okay. So yeah, that was about the attendance and student ambassador program. We have this all-in-one documentation which we have prepared for you people. You can get all the links, all the resources, the session links, the notes from this one place. So this is the attendance link, here is the session link, and if the trainer shares any of the resources, we will make sure to upload those things also here in this one all-in-one documentation. So make sure to save this link as well. And we have this notes prepared for you people. It will help you for your future. You can refer it anytime. You cannot download this pdf, but yeah, you can save the link and refer it anytime. Okay. Also, guys, we have this other programs, paid programs, that is MBA Connect, BTech CSE, and BBA. So if you are interested, if any people wants to do graduation in BTech CSE, MBA, and BBA, you can just click on the link and check out our page. Okay, doc link is not working. Wait, I will share in the chat. It should work. And guys, if you have any further doubts related to the attendance or anything, you can put it in the chat. Our moderators will help you out. And let's move ahead and call the trainer. The trainer for this Excel bootcamp is Avish sir. He will be there with you for the next 3 days, and I hope you will have a best session and interesting session, and you will all enjoy it. And if you have guys any doubt related to Excel, so he will help you out. Okay, so I will call the trainer now. सेशन हिंदी इंग्लिश दोनों में रहेगा. So do not spam in the chat for Hindi or English. We'll try to use both the language and explain you the things in both the this. Okay. So yeah. So hi sir, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Anam.
So we can move ahead, sir, and you can start the session. I have
Yeah,
explained them about the.
just one thing. I will keep it in English because we'll be having a lot of people from the south as well. They have a problem. We faced a lot of problem in the past, so I'll keep it in
Okay.
English. I think we'll stick to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries, sir.
Perfect.
So I will take
Thank
a
you.
lift. Bye,
Thank you.
guys. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Professor Avesh Bordia. I am from Mumbai. And on behalf of Let's Upgrade, today I'm going to be working with this particular bootcamp with all of you. And we're going to be going through this bootcamp wherein we will be learning the basic, intermediate, and some advanced concepts in Excel. So let's quickly go ahead and start working with it. I have shared the entire zip file that I will be using with you all for the next 2 to 3 days. Additional stuff is also available in it. So whatever I will be using throughout these 3 days will be available at your disposal whenever you need to refer to it. So don't worry about what the material is. It will be available on the link that Anam has shared with you. So that should be great. Now, I hope I am clearly audible to all of you. Please give me a quick thumbs up and a yes in the chat so that I know, okay, that we are actually working with whatever we are working with, and there's no doubt with respect to the sound or the audio. Okay, so I am going to quickly share my screen right now. Now, here I have already shared with you this msexcel.zip file. It's a zip file that you will be utilizing for the reading material as well as the training material. So with respect to the data that I will be using, it's all available here. There are two folders within this. The folders are, one is the training material folder and the second is the reading material folder. So I've unzipped it here. You've got reading material and unsolved Excel practice data. So what I have done is whatever I'm using for the training, it's the unsolved practice file. So you can download them and you can follow along with me. So the first file that I'm referring to is called as the dataset file. Now this dataset file that we are using is a file that is going to be used throughout most of the session, and we're going to be going ahead with respect to some real basic concepts, right from understanding the interface of Excel to moving into how to work with basic pivot table concepts as well. Now, before I move ahead, let me give you a heads up that whatever syllabus has been shared with you, we are going to cover all that, as well as I'm going to add some additional things that are there which is not part of the syllabus. So obviously, all in all, it's a win-win situation for you. So if you're participating in this particular session, you would have a clear understanding of a lot of concepts that would help you from the perspective of at least beginning with your tool and beginning with working with Excel. So to begin with, let's understand the interface of Excel. So with Excel, we have, when you open up Excel, you have the blank sheets that are there. Now let me start by opening up Excel from scratch. So if you can see right now, I don't have any Excel file or any Excel program opened up. You can open up Excel by clicking on the start button, and then you can choose to search for Excel over here and then open it up. Or else what you can do is you can simply click on search here and you can type search over here and you can type the Excel name. Simultaneously, what I have done is I have added Excel as my go-to software on my taskbar. So from here I can easily work with it. Here you can see I am working with this particular logo, and I'm directly opening up Excel from here. So I'm using Office 365 for business. Okay, so this is the Office 365 for business. So a lot of things that you may see on my screen will be slightly different from what you see on your screen. So please do not worry. That is something which is going to happen because of a difference in the uh, versions that we are dealing with, right? So let's understand how do we go about with working with the files that we have. So when you open up Excel, this is what you see. You can open up, or you can choose to open up a blank workbook, or you can choose to open up the recently used workbooks that are there. Also, so as I have mentioned, a lot of people have been asking where are the zip files. Don't worry, the zip file will be available with you in the all-in-one documentation that Anam has shared with you in the link. Also, in fact, for that matter, it's there in the chat that is there, or in the description of the live webinar that we are working with, right? Well, now I'm going to open up this one dataset file. So I would recommend that rather than you trying to follow along with me, you can right now, for now, just go through what is actually happening with the uh, topics that we are discussing during the course of the boot camp, and then maybe after we finish the boot camp, you can take your time out and you can practice whatever we are working with. So I'm opening up my first file now. Most of my uh, topics that I will be covering in these 3 days are all going to be available in this particular file itself. So we have multiple sheets here. I'm going to go to sheet 1. This is a blank sheet. Okay. And once I'm on sheet 1, I am going to go ahead and work with the interface. So when I look at the interface, right on top here, you can see the title bar. And besides the title bar, you can see a search bar here. Also, you can see the minimize, maximize, and close buttons. Now, this may differ from version to version. Below that, I have got this file button. Now, this file button here is called as the backstage window, because when I click on the file button, it opens up the backstage window and it allows me to access multiple commands, or you can say multiple features like saving, opening, closing my existing workbooks, also saving a copy, etc. Then I do have various tabs that are there, like the home, insert, draw, page layout, etc. These tabs contain your commands that you would be using for working with your data. For example, you want to sort and filter, or you want to clear your sheet, or you want to use some fill series, whatever commands you want to use, they're available in the tabs. So currently I have selected the home tab. Within the home tab, I've got different command groups. For example, I've got this clipboard command group, and within that I've got different commands. For example, this format painter, etc. Now, if you look at your interface, you would notice that there's some commands available here or some buttons available here. This area is called as the quick access toolbar. So it's called as the quick access toolbar, also referred to in abbreviation as QAT, which is normally the area from where you can access your commands very quickly. What I have done is I have moved my quick access toolbar from there below the ribbon. Okay, so I've done it by simply going to the drop down here, and from there I have chosen to use the uh, show below the ribbon option. So currently it says show above the ribbon. If I click on this, it will move my quick access toolbar on top. So you can see now my quick access toolbar is available on top over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and move it below the ribbon, because that's where I am more comfortable with, because I can see the name of the commands as well. Again, the interface is going to be different in different versions of Excel that you are working with. So preferably, I would recommend that you should at least have. So right now we have 2024 as the latest version of Excel or Office that's available at your disposal. What you can simply do is you can go ahead and use either 2016 up to 2024. If you have Office 365, it's fantastic, because that's the subscription based version. You will get most of your updates on that particular version. Well, below that, you do have something called as the name box. Now this name box gives you information about what is the current cell that you have selected. So this tells you the current cell selection. Okay, now it may seem to be a very simple thing, but it's a very useful aspect of Excel. The reason is because with respect to Excel, you can use this name box and create some names for certain cells or ranges of cells that you will be looking at later on. Then you've got the formula builder. So this is the FX button which opens up the formula builder, or you can also call it as the insert function button. So from here, if you want to insert some complex calculations or some complex formulas, you can do that from here directly. Well, besides that, you also have the formula bar. Now this formula bar is a long formula bar, but if you want, you can simply click this drop down and you can increase the height of the formula bar if you are trying to write a complex formula which you want to work with. Well, then you have the workspace, which consists of rows and columns, and the intersection of the row and column is called as the cell. So you have a column here and then you have a row as well. So the row and column, the intersection of the row and column is called as a cell. It's called as A1 in this case, which is currently the cell that I have selected. Now please note, in one sheet, so we have multiple sheets of data on one Excel workbook. So a Excel file is called as a workbook, and within that you have multiple worksheets. Okay, you can add multiple worksheets or you can delete the worksheets. It depends on entirely your requirement. Now in one worksheet you can have up to 16,384 columns of data and about 10,48,576 rows of data. Now please note that even if we have this much data, it doesn't mean that we need to be dealing with all this data. Okay, so that means it doesn't mean that you fill up all this data. It just means that you have to use this area, but don't fill it up, because the more amount of data you have on one sheet, it becomes even more difficult to work with a lot of data. Well, then below that you have the different sheets that you're dealing with, and you have the sheet navigator, which is this sheet navigator here. You also have the the vertical and horizontal scroll bars that are available, from where you can quickly scroll through your data. Then below this, you have something called as the status bar. Now, the status bar is a very useful thing. The reason is because a lot of times when you're working with your data, you would want to quickly know what is the status of your data. When you select a few cells, it gives you statistics about those particular cells of data that you are dealing with. Then you've got these three buttons here. These are your normal view, then the page layout view, and the page break preview. Also, you've got the zoom ruler that's available. Currently it's set at 145%. You can change it as per your requirement. So as and when we discuss some important things, I will talk about what these things are, uh, and where you are going to be utilizing them. So I will not be explaining you the entire interface, button by button. I will contextually explain it to you. I will explain it you some concepts, and then accordingly we will proceed ahead. So to begin with, let's understand, when we work with Excel, we work with two main kinds of data. We either work, so I've increased the width of my column by simply hovering the cursor on the border of the column header and then dragging it to the right. Now, please note that when we are working with data in Excel, we are normally working with text data, or we are working with numerical data. So we are working with text or numbers. Now, it's very important that we work with respect to the default alignment that we have. Okay. And now, when we have text in our data, the alignment by default is always on the left. And when we have numbers, the alignment is always on the right. So let me just show you the example. So let's say I'm writing here, let's upgrade. Okay. This is the name of the firm that you are working with. Now, when I hit enter, you can see the alignment is on the left hand side. And when I enter, let's upgrade with the current year, it will still be aligned to the left. So even if I'm entering a number, it's still being treated as text, because it is already having text along with it. Okay. And if I just write the current year, it will be aligned to the right. So remember, when we are working with data, when we are working with text, it's going to be on the left hand side, and when we are working with numbers, it's going to be to the right hand side. This is something important. Also, when we are working with formulas that evaluate to numbers, in that case they will be aligned to the right, and if the formula evaluates to text, it will be aligned to the left. So this is something that you will be dealing with. Perfect. Now let's move to the basics of Excel when we work with the data. So I'm scrolling to the far left of my data, and here I am going to talk about some important aspects of the cursors that we deal with. So normally we have got the selection cursor. So I just showed you, like when I select the cells, I can just select these range of cells or multiple cells. When I select, I'm selecting a range of cells that I'm working with. In addition to that, I can select non-continuous range of cells. For example, I've selected the cells. Now I can hold the control key and select these cells as well. So this is called as a non-contiguous range of cells. Okay, I could do that for multiple range of cells as well. So this is the selection cursor. Now I can select the entire column or the entire row using my selection cursor for the column and the row respectively. The next cursor that I will talk about is the insertion cursor. So when I double click on a cell, I do get this I-beam cursor. Okay. All these things that I'm talking about, they're available in that zip file in the reading material. So there's a file called as types of cursors. If you open it, all the information about that will be, all these cursors will be mentioned there. Okay. Okay. So if you have any queries, please put them in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat as well. So please let me know if there's anything that you haven't understood whilst I'm explaining something to you. So I was talking about the selection cursors that can be there for the entire column or the entire row, depending on your requirement. Now, a lot of times it does happen that you need to adjust the column width or the row height. So that can be done by hovering your cursor on the border of the column with adjustment and then dragging it to the right. One is this way. Second is, if you can see, creating and opening Excel workbooks is data that is not fitting into one cell. So what I can simply do is I can double click on the column width adjustment cursor and it automatically adjusts the column width to fit in the data into one single column. Okay, this is the column width adjustment cursor. Then we do have the third cursor, which is a drag and drop cursor. Now to explain that, I'm going to go to this copy and paste special sheet and I will scroll to the far left of the sheet to explain this to you. Now here I've got some serial number, product ID, category, quantity, rate and line total. Now let's say I want to move this column or this range of cells to the end of my data. So I can simply select these cells together and hover my cursor on the border of those selection range. And then I can drag it to the right. This is the first thing that you see, which is called as the click and drag method. Okay, this is just clicking and dragging, which is going to move the data for you. So it's as good as cutting the data and pasting the data. The second thing that you can do is, so I'll just undo this for now. The second thing is, let's say I want to retain the original data, but I also want to create a copy of the data. I can hover my cursor on the border and press the control key whilst selecting the data and then drag it. So when I do this, what happens is it creates a copy of the original data and then puts it onto the range of cells that I am working with. This is the second thing. So this is what we are referring to as control plus click plus drag. So we have click plus drag and then we have control plus click plus drag. So this is as good as copying your data. Now, a lot of times we have got situations where we are not interested in just creating a copy of the data. We want to insert the data in between two columns or in between two set of cells, and we want to avoid making that extra space and then dragging and putting it there. So one way is, what you can do is, let's say I want to move my category data in between the serial number and product ID columns. So what I can simply do is I can create a column here by inserting a column, and then I can drag my data and put it here into the blank column, and then I can delete this column, which is a three-step process and it becomes a little tedious when you have to do it too many times. So let me just press Ctrl Z and go back and show you how to do this very easily without having to follow these three different steps. So I will select these cells together, and once I select these cells, I will then hover my cursor on the border and hold the shift key and then click and drag it to the left. So when I click and drag it to the left, it is going to give me this green icon, and then I will release my cursor, which indicates that now I have inserted the data without having to manually delete the columns or insert the column and then delete the blank column. So you can see how I'm able to move the data and insert it. So the third one is shift plus click plus drag. So this is the third combination that I can use. Now comes the fourth combination. So in the fourth combination, if I want to create a copy, so let me just press Control Z for now. And let's say I want to create a copy of this and place it in between as well. I can simply hold down the Control plus the Shift key and then click and drag it and release my key. So when I release the mouse there, you will notice that I have got the original data as it is, but I also have a copy of the data. So that is the fourth method, which is Control plus Shift plus click plus drag. So these are the four keys that you can, the combination that you can actually use. So these are the four scenarios. Again, this information is also available in a file called as tips and tricks for Excel. So from there, you can actually refer to it. I think it's on page 8 of that particular document. Okay, now with respect to a lot of queries coming in with respect to the recorded session, I think that will be answered by uh, the backend team. Anam ma'am will give you the answer for it. So I think that is something that I would recommend that, right now we are in a live session. So please try to get information from the live session itself. Take down notes and see what you can actually make out best from this particular live session. With respect to the recording, I'm assuming that it should be available, but I'm not very sure about it. You can just communicate with the backend team and they will help you on that. So this is the third cursor that we deal with. The first one is the selection cursor. The second one is the I-beam cursor, which is to insert data. The third one is to move your data. That is the drag and drop cursor. Then we come to the next one, that is the fill handle. So I'm going back to the sheet basics of Excel to explain the fill handle. Now here I've got some extract of a report from a pivot table, wherein from the granular data or the detailed data, someone has given me an extract which contains the country, state and revenue information. Now when you're having this information, the problem that occurs is we are going to have uh, a problem while sorting and filtering the data. So here you can see we've got Australia and we have state information for Australia. Now the problem here is I've got 5 different states for Australia. For those who don't know that these are states of Australia, let me give you an information that these are the states of Australia, these are the states of Canada, and so on and so forth that we are dealing with. Now these may not be all the states, but they are some of the important states of that particular country. Now the important thing is if I apply a sort and filter currently, you will see that I get only one record for Australia instead of getting 5 records for Australia. So what we need to do here is we need to fix this particular problem. And how do we fix it? Now to fix it, I will use my fill handle and I will drag my information down from the cell that I want to pull it. So by default, the fill handle is used to copy the data. Please remember that. The second thing that you can do is instead of using the fill handle, what you could have done is you could have selected all the cells along with the cell that contains information and then use a shortcut Control D. So during my sessions, I will be giving you a lot of shortcuts that I will be putting on the screen, and also in the Excel zip file I have shared about 200 shortcuts for your reference. So please refer to that zip file later on. Okay. This is the shortcut for copying data from the cell above it. If you have data where you want to copy from the left of it, you can use Control R for copying from the left of your cell, okay, to copy to the right. Well, this is the second method. Now the third thing is with respect to the fill handle, you can also create, so I'm just leaving this right now, and you can also create an alphanumeric series of data using the fill handle. So if I just click and drag this down, because I already have P, the starting, and then I have 001. So at the end, I've got a number. When I drag it down, it automatically creates a list of the product IDs that are there for my data that's available, right? So I'll just press Control Z. So when I do create this particular product codes, it is going to be based on the fill handle. Now this is the normal way, but if I want to use the fill handle and I want P001 only to be written, there's a small button here that appears after you use the fill cursor, the autofill cursor, And here you can choose what do you want to do. Instead of filling the series, you would want a copy cells to be available, right? So when you click on this, it will create a copy of your data from whatever range of cells you are actually working with. Well, now moving to the number series. So if you have ever worked with Excel, I'm assuming that you would know a simple aspect of creating a number series. Now, a lot of times it does happen that you need to enter data, and you need to enter data in a serial number format. And for that, you need a series of numbers starting from any number X and then continuing with a specific difference between the numbers that are there. So, for example, let's say I want to create a number series from 1 to 10. Now, normally I would just go ahead and keep writing 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would have to write 10 different numbers. Now, because we are working with Excel, Excel is a very powerful tool. It gives you a lot of different, uh, you know, shortcuts, and it gives you a lot of, it makes you very efficient while working with your data. So one of the efficiency trick that you can work with is creating or using a number series uh, with respect to the fill handle. So here I've got 1. Now, when I drag this 1 down using my fill handle, it creates the same value and it gives me 1 across all the cells. So I can simply click this drop down and I can choose to click on fill series, which converts that number 1 into a number series for you. So this is one of the important methods of converting or creating a number series. Let's press Ctrl Z for now. And the second method is you create, or you have two numbers, you write down two numbers, one below the other, with a said difference between them. So the set difference is 1. I'm going to select both the cells together and then hover my cursor on the bottom right, which allows me to access the fill handle. So when you click and drag this down, you will notice that it is by default creating the number series for you. So in this case, I did not have 1 and then dragged it down. I had 1, 2, and then the defined number series has automatically been worked with. Okay. Okay. Well, now coming to the next uh, way of creating the number series is using the fill series command. Now, a lot of times it does happen, you have to not create 1 to 10, but you have to create like a very long number series. Like, for example, I want to create a number series which extends from 1 to 100,000. Now, if I use the traditional method that I just showed you right now, it's going to take me ages. It's going to take a very long time to complete that 10,000, oh, sorry, 100,000 numbers. So let me show you a very interesting trick, which is using the fill series command. Now, please note that the fill series command is only going to be available if you have a number to start off with. So I have a number, and that's my starting number, and that's the only number that I will be requiring to start off my command. So I start by entering 1. Then under the home tab, so please note, whenever I talk about any command, I will be referring to the home tab first, and then I will be referring to the command group, and then I will refer to the command. And if the command has any sub command, by clicking the drop down button here, it will be referred to as well. So I will start by referring to the home tab. So I need to use the fill series command. So under the home tab, under the editing command group, you click this drop down for fill and you will see series. So please remember, it's not about clicking editing, but it's just about where you should find it. So this command is has got certain sub commands like fill down, right, left, etc. I will use the series sub command. So when I click on fill series, it opens up this series dialog box. Now, since we are learning it from the beginning, I would like to share a few additional tips with respect to how you should become more efficient with Excel. So if you notice, every single option in this particular dialog box has got certain alphabets underlined. Okay, like for example, here you've got C underlined for columns. Now these underlined alphabets like C, this is called as a hot key. I'm sorry, it's called as a hot key, or it is also referred to as an accelerator key. Okay. So what you can simply do is you can go ahead and you can click on columns, and it's a linear data type. So you leave it as linear. Your step value will be 1 and your stop value will be 100,000. So you click on 100,000, you enter 100,000 and click on OK, and you will see that the entire list of values have been created for you. Okay. Now I'm going to give you about 3 minutes, okay, to practice whatever we've done so far. I will take a quick break for 3 minutes because I need to just finish off something really very important. I will come back in the next 3 minutes. In the meantime, I want you to try and practice, because you don't really need any data set or anything of that sort. I want you to practice how to create the numeric alphanumeric series. I want you to practice how to create the number series, and in addition to that, I want you to try out how to create a series of odd numbers, days of the week, and months of the year. So try this out by yourself. Please make sure that there is no spelling mistake. So you can write MON or you can write the entire thing as Monday, and then you can use the fill handle and drag it down and see the results of it. It's a very useful thing. So I will just quickly be back in the next 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will continue with our session. Okay.
Hey, hello everyone. Where is the zip file? Guys, am I visible to you all? Hello. Zip file. I can see there are a lot of doubts regarding the zip file. You can find the zip file in the all-in-one documentation. When you click the link, that file will get downloaded, and you can find the downloaded file in your files that PC, or else. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you can download the file and get it from your find it in your PC files. Okay. Any other guys queries? So let me know whether you people are enjoying the session or no. If you guys have any doubt or anywhere you people are stucking, let us know. And we have received it now. Okay, good. That's good, Praveen. Any other queries? Yes, there are so many files in the under the zip file, because in further classes it will be we will use those data set as well. So yeah, save it. Enjoying and how much percent, let's say on a 0 to 10 scale, how much you people are enjoying the session? Attendance link you can find in the description box, but yeah, we'll share it here in the chat as well. One second. So yeah, I have uploaded the attendance link. And guys, one more thing. Okay, the sir is here.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anam.
Yeah, well.
Okay. So, well, we're back. And I think I had left you with a question. In fact, a lot of questions before we actually went ahead. I'm glad you all are enjoying the session and you all are able to understand. I know the things are going a little, like a tad bit fast, but I'm trying my best to make sure that I'm at a pace where all of you can understand and work with me simultaneously. Yeah. So, how many of you were able to actually perform the tasks? Yeah. So, how many of you were able to? Okay. Prasanna says, okay, you practice. Great. Okay. If you're able to practice, well and good. Fine. So the file that I'm using, Ajay, is one hyphen data set. And as Anam ma'am mentioned, that the data files that I've shared with you are more than what we are. Actually, I've given you a lot more files. So it's more like a setup that also covers a lot of other super advanced concepts in Excel. So don't worry. You just follow along with the files that I'm working with during the session. Okay. So don't worry about all that. Perfect. So I can see a lot of people liking the short tricks that I'm teaching you, some of the tricks that I'm teaching you. Well and good. Now another very quick set of tricks that I'm going to teach you. So is everybody ready for some new tricks to be learned with Excel? Give me a quick yes thumbs up in the chat, and I will show you some new tricks with respect to Excel. So I'm sure you have been using Excel for some time, and you know that okay, Excel is a tool that is used for multiple things that are there, and I will talk about how these things can actually help you, and what really how you can really effectively leverage Excel to learn and work. So let's work with this. So let's say, for example, here at the moment I've got this number series, and I don't want this number series that I've generated. I want to delete it. So first and foremost, when I have created it, if I want to go to the edge of my data region, so I have a lot of data. If I keep scrolling, it'll keep just scrolling one by one. So rather than that, what I can do is I can simply use the control and down arrow key. Remember, the arrow keys are used for simple navigation cell by cell, but when I couple it with the control key, it moves to the edge of the data region. So when I move down to the last cell in the data region, you can see I am currently in cell K1 lakh 1. Okay. And similarly, I can use control and up arrow to go to the first cell in that particular column. Similarly, if I can use the shift and down arrow key, I will be able to select one cell at a time. And if I use control and the shift and the arrow key, I will use it to select all the cells to the edge of the data region. So let me just delete it for now and show you how this deletion is actually done. Okay. Now, uh, the file, I'm repeating it, the file to be used is one hyphen data set. When you open the zip file, you should have two folders. One is the practice files and one is the reading material. So I will not be explaining it any further because it's going to eat up into my time for explanation. Well, how many of you tried the odd numbers, solution? And how many of you were able to generate the odd numbers that are there? So how many of you actually tried the odd numbers solution there, and how many of you were able to generate it? Okay, so I can see Bharat tried it, Dipanshu tried it. Well and good. Okay, so you were able to get it or no? That's more important. Okay, great. So the odd numbers is very simple. When I use the step value is going to be 2. So accordingly, when I use the step value, you will be changing the step value to 2 instead of 1. It gives you the odd numbers. Okay, now moving on to, I'm not covering days of the week, etc. I'm just going to date series. Now, whilst working with the date series here, I've got 1/1/2025, which is my first date of the year. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to create a date series, but this date series, when I normally drag it down, it does create a series of dates. Now, how do these date series actually get created? Because these are not, like when you see it, they are not numbers. But there is a very important thing. At the back end, all these dates are stored as numbers only. Now, these numbers, how are they actually set up, and what is the method of setting up these numbers? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and simply delete all this and convert this into a, so whenever I write a date, okay, so remember that in Excel there is something called as a number format. Okay, I will talk about what number formats are later on, but a number format is the way you write your number, and in certain different documents or certain different scenarios, you need to show your number in different ways. Like, for example, if I'm talking about selling 10 TVs, I'm just going to write 10. Okay, but when I say I'm charging rupees 10 for a vada pav, I will write rupee symbol with 10 before it. This means this is a currency, and this means it is a number. So there are different ways of representing numbers in Excel and in real life as well. Hence, we have something called as a number format or a number command group under the home tab. So whenever you work with three important number formats, date, time, and your percentage, these three number formats are automatically picked up when you enter the data into a cell. So let me give you an example here. So for example, here in this cell, currently it's already picked up as a date format. Okay. Let me just select this entire column and change this to a general number format. And let's write, so it's a general number format. If I write a number randomly and I press enter, it will still remain general. But the moment I write 1-1-2025 in a particular preset format for the date, it will automatically change this into a date format. You can see that it is now available as a date format and not as a general number format. So if I convert this date, for example, I convert this date back to a general number format, you will notice at the back end, Excel is storing this date as a number. Now, what is this logic? It is not some random number. Okay. Please note, this is not a random number. It has got some meaning to it. So what is the meaning of this number? The meaning of this number is that 1-1-1900. Okay, let's say this is the starting date. Okay, this is stored as 1 in the Excel spreadsheet. And when I look at this as 1, this number that you see is actually, if I'm looking at this date, that is 1-1-25. Okay, I can write a 2-digit number as well. These are basically the number of days that this 1-1-25 is away from the 1st of Jan 1900. So that is the logic, and that is why at the back end you can perform calculations with dates, etc. So I'm going to convert this to a date, and then I can use my fill handle and drag it down to generate a list of dates. But that's not my end objective while working with dates in this particular case. What I want is I want to work with the data, and I want to ensure that I have a list of dates created in this column, but the dates should not be containing the weekends. That means Saturdays and Sundays should not be there. So for that, what I can do is, again, I can use my fill series command, and I'm putting my data into a column. So please note that I normally would want to put my data into a column unless there is a specific requirement to put it into the rows while working. In all the cases, I would put it into the normal column that I'm working with. Then here it has automatically picked up as a date format or a date data type. So I'll just leave it as it is. Then my date unit here will change from day to weekday, and the step value will be 1 and the stop value. Now, a lot of times people make a mistake here. I've conducted a lot of trainings and people have said, when I ask them what should be put here, people say 365. Please note, you don't put a number. You are going to put a date value here. Okay, you're going to write a date. So the date is going to be 31-12-2025. 2025 or 2025, but please ensure that you know what date format you're working with. So let me just zoom in for you to show you the date format that I'm working with here. I'm currently working with the date format as 2002-2025, which is the day, the month, and the year. Okay, so I'm using the UK date format, or you can say Indian date format, unlike what you normally see with respect to the US date format. The US date format is month, day, and year. So if you're following the US date format, you enter it that way. Otherwise, if you're following the Indian date format, you enter it this way. So 31-12-2025 and enter. Now, when you do that, you have the list of dates created for you, and you have about the total number of dates created. So you can see here, I currently have got 4 and 5 missing, and directly it's 6. That means Saturdays and Sundays have been excluded from this. So if I select all this data, you can see at the bottom in your status bar, you have count of 261 values. That means there are 261 days in this year which are weekdays, and the remaining days are all weekends. Okay, so that is how you work with your fill handle in different scenarios. I hope you all are enjoying the session, everyone. Is everyone enjoying the session? Can you give me a quick thumbs up or a quick one word in terms of how is the session going on? I'm waiting for your feedback, everyone, please. Good. Perfect. You're enjoying the session. Well, now some more tips and tricks to learn in Excel. So I'm sure all of you have come here with certain expectations in terms of learning something new, and then you move out of these boot camps, right? So let me teach you something really very interesting. So let's say I am going to give you a list of names, and these people are all joining a particular company. Let's say they're joining a company called Cheers. Okay. So I need to create an email for each of them, and I also need to create a list of first names and last names based on the name. Now, here I've given you a small list of data to just demonstrate it for you. But let's say we have got about 500, 600 names, and the boss says, I want it done ASAP. So let me teach you a very quick trick here using something called as flash fill. So here I start entering the first name, and then I hit enter. Now I will teach you how you can do this flash fill in multiple ways. So the first is you can simply start typing the second name, and it will automatically prompt you with this. So a lot of times you may have come across this particular situation, wondering what's actually happening, and being glad about the fact, you say, okay, great, hit enter, it will accept it. If you press escape, it will reject the suggestions for you. Okay. The same thing can be achieved using another method, is where you simply double click on the fill handle and it automatically fills in the same name. So don't panic at this point of time. You simply click this button for autofill options and click on flash fill. Now, when you click on flash fill, it automatically gives you the set of names based on the pattern that you have. The third method is by using a shortcut or by clicking on this button and clicking on flash fill. So here we click on, we type the name as Acharya, and then I click this button and I click the drop down and click on flash fill. So when I click on flash fill, it immediately updates again with you. Now please note, when I do click the drop down and I hover on this flash fill option, you can see that there is a dedicated keyboard shortcut for this particular command. The dedicated keyboard shortcut is called as Control plus E. So what you can simply do here is you can write your email by putting in the email as, let's say, aryan.acharya @ let's say cheers.com, and then I can use control enter. Now please note, when I do press enter, I am going to be moving to the next cell below it. When I press shift enter, I'm going to move one cell above it. When I press tab, I'm moving to the right, and when I press shift tab, I'm moving to the left. Now, when I've selected the cell, I can hit Control E to automatically populate the data for all the emails of the names. So we have got very quick method methods of creating this. Obviously, because I was teaching you, it took a little bit of time. But if I had to do this very quickly, and if I was given the task, this would be the approach that I would use and very quickly generate the data for working with my first name, last name, and email. So far, so good. Okay. So we worked with the fill handle. I've taught you a lot of tricks of generating, names of the days, names of the months, etc., etc. Now let's talk about moving into the next level of working with the basic formulas. But before that, let's talk about cell and number formats. Okay, now I have already formatted this. I'm just going to click on or just select this data. If you open your file, you will see that there's no formatting applied. So I'll just quickly clear the formatting and start with the data from scratch. Now here I've got an invoice, and this invoice doesn't look really very interesting because it doesn't have any color, it doesn't have any specific aspect with respect to how do I identify which country this invoice was generated in, because there's nothing with respect to any currency symbol in the unit price column or in the line total column, or for that matter, no percentage symbol with the GST tax rate as well. Well, now let me show you how quickly you can do it with using the cell styles option. Okay, so here again the trick is to attain maximum productivity and efficiency with the minimum amount of time. So what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to simply go and click on these cells or select these cells. Now please note that for formatting your data, you have got multiple command groups like the font, alignment, and the number command group. Combined, you can do the formatting for your cell as per your requirement if you wish to format it. But I am not one of those people who's going to waste a lot of time on choosing the color, font, etc. I want to do my work very quickly and with the minimum amount of time, in the minimum amount of time. So what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to select the header, and then I'm going to click the drop down for cell styles and click on the option heading 3. So when I do click on heading 3, my data gets converted into a heading 3 format. It picks up the font color, the font style, everything with the underlining, the border, everything is being selected based on a preset cell style for you. Now comes the input data. So your data with respect to the product name, the unit price, and the quantity, they all are input values. So once you've selected them, you simply go to the option for cell styles and click on the option for input. Now, when you do click on input, you see that your data is now being depicted as an input value, or it's being depicted with this orange color, which indicates that this is an input cell. Similarly, you can do it for values that are being calculated as well. So these are calculations. I'm going to select them and pick up a cell style that's suitable for these kind of cells called as a calculation. So we have a calculation here. Similarly, we can do it for GST rate, again, cell style, and this time it's an input cell style. And for the tax and total after tax, I will use a calculation cell style. So you can see how within a few seconds, I have been able to very quickly assign the appropriate color, font, etc. based on what I am trying to work with. Now, this was just about working with the color and the aesthetics. Now talking about numbers. Okay. Remember, numbers are formatted based on what you're trying to depict using those numbers. Okay. So let's say we have got unit price. Now, unit price is actually supposed to be depicted as a currency symbol. So I will simply select all these cells together. And then under the drop down for my number formats, I do have various options available. Like here, I've got the currency symbol. Now, whatever number formats you want to apply, they will be applied from here. But I will teach you the shortcuts as well. So again, here we select all these cells together and then Control Shift and dollar. This is going to apply the local currency format to your data. Please note there is a subtle difference between uh, the currency format, sorry, the currency format and the accounting format. So there's a slight difference in them. It's just the appearance. As far as the calculations, etc. are concerned, Nothing changes, it remains the same because they are both going to be treated as numbers for calculations. It's only the appearance in terms of how you use a currency and a accounting format. Okay, so coming back to the next part, that is working with the quantity column. Now remember, the quantity column here is basically mentioned in thousands. So what I would want to do is, I would want to go ahead and put this into a comma separated format. So I'll select this and then I can use this button here called as comma style format. But let me show you a trick as to how you can use or select this particular button or this particular command using your keyboard shortcut. So as I mentioned, keyboard shortcuts is a very important approach to increasing your productivity. Okay. So in order to access the ribbon or the quick access toolbar, you can use the Alt key. But please note that this option that I just taught you, or this trick that I'm just teaching you, is exclusive to Windows users. If you're using Excel on a Mac, it's not really going to work for you. So please keep that in mind. Okay. You will have to manually go and choose it. So here I've selected my data. I can hit Alt on my keyboard. The moment I hit Alt, you will notice that it activates my ribbon as well as the uh, quick access toolbar. Now, since I want to access the comma separated or comma style formatting, I will hit H because it's under the Home tab. And then I will hit K for the formatting. So Alt HK is going to apply the comma style formatting for my numbers. Now we come to the line total, which is actually an accounting number format. There's no direct shortcut for it. So I will simply click the drop down and I can use accounting as my number formatting shortcut. Then comes my GST rate. Now please note, as I mentioned, percentages are automatically picked up when you enter the data with a percentage symbol, because it is automatically detected as a percentage and you don't have to really do much about it. So here in this case, what we are going to be doing is we are going to go ahead and apply the tax rate as 10%. Now, if I write only 10 and I hit enter, I already have a formula that is calculating the tax. It's just going to multiply my value with, or whatever the total I have, with 10 and not 10%. Please note there's a very big difference between 10 as a number and 10%. For those who for those who don't know what the difference is, please note 10 and 10% are completely different. 10 is nothing but 10 multiplied by 100 is equal to 1,000%. So that's why when you write 10, you're going to get a wrong calculation. You have to explicitly put the percentage symbol after 10 to ensure that you are using a percentage after this. So you write 10 and then you write percentage and hit enter. You will get the tax calculation correct. So this is going to be the way you can work with your percentages. Okay. So very quickly, any queries that you have, I can see you people are putting on the chat. Okay, how the focus on creating real life and never is interesting. Okay, I appreciate the fact that you people are putting in comments that are positive. So I am assuming that all those who are putting in comments that are positive and there's no spamming, you are here to learn. So I appreciate your spirit, and Let's Upgrade is with you always whenever you are on your learning path. So as your learning journey commences in Excel, I am assuming that you will keep learning and growing, both in terms of your technical skill sets as well as on the professional front. So I'm assuming that a lot of people here are professionals and are here to upskill themselves. A lot of you are students as well. So please note, this is a versatile tool used across the board, across organizations, across industries, across the different platforms that you work with. Anyways, now coming back to the tax and total after tax. Now we know that, okay, these are uh, values that need to be set up as accounting. But let me show you one important trick with respect to copying the formatting from one cell to another cell. Let's say we do not have a particular format applied. Okay, so I'll just clear the formatting from here, and I want to apply exactly the same format to these two cells, which means everything from the font type, font size, and the number formats as well. So what I can do, we are going to go ahead and select a cell which I want to copy the formatting from. And then I will click on the format painter, which looks like a paintbrush under the home tab and clipboard command group. And you will notice now, along with my selection cursor, I do have a paintbrush also applied. That means I'm now in the format painter mode. So I can simply select the cells that I want to apply my formatting to, and it will automatically apply the formatting to those cells as well. Okay. So this is how you can use the format painter if you want to apply number formatting or cell formatting, anything with respect to font, color, etc. Okay, so this is how you work with your formatting as well. Now we move on to working with numbers which are large enough. When I say large enough, I am basically meaning with the number of digits in a particular number. So first and foremost, I will quickly go ahead and convert this into a general number format, and I will delete these cells or the data in these cells for a reason that I want them to be, I want to show you how to work with it. Now I'm using a formula in this particular cell, which is finding out the total number of characters or total number of digits in a particular number, or maybe a string of data that I'm trying to work with. Now I have these new people being inducted, and I need to assign a bank account number for each of them. So let me give you one, or maybe these are the people who have left the organization, and I need to give them their gratuity. So I need to enter their bank account numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply go ahead and select the cell and start entering the number. So let's say I enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0. So let's say this is a 10-digit account number. For example, when I hit enter, it is going to be assigned as a number format, as a general format, and I will be able to see all my numbers or all the digits in that particular number without any problem. But when I do increase the number of digits to 12 digits, and when I hit enter, you will see that it gets converted into something called as a scientific number format or an exponential number format, which gives you this E plus and then 11, which indicates the number of zeros that are there in that particular text that is there. Okay. Now, when you work with this kind of data, and when the digits, so if I select the cell, I can see all my digits, even though when I have not selected the cell, I can't see all the digits. But when I select it, I can see all the digits in the formula bar, and even if I double click in a cell, I can see all my digits. Now comes the challenge. So let's say I increase the number of digits to about 16 digits. The moment I increase it to 16 digits, you can see we have 16 digits in this number. You will notice that the last digit that I had entered was 6, and that has been now changed to 0, which indicates that my numbers are now being truncated, and I am not able to see all my digits carefully. Even though when I click in the cell and I look at the formula bar, my digits are missing. So please note, okay, uh, Nemish, I would request you to please avoid using this kind of language in your comments. Please ensure that you people are trying to keep the comment space as clean as possible. I think you could have used a different example, so please avoid doing that. Okay, great. Now moving to the next uh, part, wherein I'm going to show you how you can retain all your numbers without really having to worry about the number of digits that you're dealing with. So here I have written 6 instead of 0, and I'm going to start my number by entering a single quote. Now when I enter a single quote and then I enter the number and I hit enter, you will notice that the number is now being seen as a complete number without really having to worry about the exponential part of it. Okay. So here I have now converted this into a text format, and that's why it gives me this particular message or this particular, you can say, warning symbol that is there. Now, if I'm trying to enter it for multiple bank account numbers and I don't want to do it every time by entering a single code, I can simply select the entire column. Okay, let me show you one more trick. I can use control space to select the entire column and deal with it. And then I can click the drop down for my number format and select text number format. Now I can enter as many digits I want to enter and it will pick up the data as it is. Now, please note, a lot of people ask me during the sessions, does this have an impact with respect to the calculations? First and foremost, please note that when you have this kind of a situation, you don't use these numbers for calculations. They are normally used for a very nominal purpose. You're not going to add bank account numbers to each other. So they are used for a nominal purpose, just for the namesake. So that is one important thing. Second thing is, yes, they do work with calculations as well, if you want to work with them for calculations. Anyways, now, uh, Rishi, I'm a pass out student. How should I learn MS application like Word, Excel? Give me your suggestions. Okay, Rishi, a very quick suggestion. You should practice as much as possible and attend these kind of, you know, boot camps that are possible. And also, see, you can follow a structured learning mechanism by picking up certain books and stuff, or maybe you can learn by yourself in a very unstructured manner and try to structure it later on for yourself. Okay, Rishi. I'm glad that you are, eager to learn the tools that are there, and it's very important that as a student passing out from your graduation or post graduation, you should learn this. Okay, so the last 10 minutes of the first day of our learning bootcamp. Before I move into the last 10 minutes, please give me a quick update on how the session is progressing. We are already about 1 hour 20 minutes in this particular session, and I'm assuming, and from what I can see in the comments, you are loving the session. If you are, please hit the like button and give a quick update on the chat as well. So I am using Office 365 for business. It's not 2024 sort of. I'm using Office 365 for business. Okay, perfect. So I can see those hearts flying out, and I'm pretty glad that we're getting a lot of hearts and comments in the positive way to work with it. Is Excel and Google Sheet the same? Mohammad Akib, yes, a lot of things are same with respect to the tools that you work with, both of them. But a lot of people use Excel for multiple reasons, like security and collaboration and other things as well. But Google Sheets also is a free option available. So Google Sheets also plays a very, very important role. A lot of people switched to Google Sheets during the COVID pandemic, but they didn't really kind of survive there. They came back to Excel because, see, Google Sheets and Excel, I'm taking a few seconds here to explain this. Google Sheets and Excel have a lot of similarities, but they have their own loyalty base. It's basically like you go to a particular, you have pizza from two places, but you go to a particular place for a pizza because you like the cheese there. So it's as good as that. A lot of people like features in Excel, so they stick with Excel. A lot of people like Google Sheets, so they stick with Google Sheets. Okay, well, great. No, my version I'm using is not free. It's a paid version and it is a business edition version. Uh, Great. Divyansh Solani, I'm glad that you have that spirit that you will keep learning, even though you're finding it a little difficult to stay keep up pace with. Don't worry, everything will be sorted as in when we move ahead. Okay, so the last number format for the 16-digit number format. Salam, I'm using the text number format for this. So I started by putting a single quote before the number, and then I can enter as many digits I want. It will not truncate my number for me. Okay. Uh, Jami, you can check up the licensing cost online, but I think it's about 10,000 or so for an entire year. Depends on what version of Excel you are actually, or Office you're actually going for. Okay, now coming to the calculation with dates and times. So a lot of times we work with dates and times, and people find it difficult to work with dates and times because they don't really know what logic is used at the back end. So as I mentioned, at the back end for dates, we use numbers. Similarly, at the back end for time, we use decimal values or numbers while working with it. Okay. So please note that when it comes to calculation for dates, you can simply use it the way you normally use it with respect to a normal calculation in Excel. So you start with an equal to symbol. That indicates that you're starting with your formulas. Since we've not started with formulas right now, you may find this a little intimidating initially, but don't worry. Whenever you want to work with a formula in Excel, you start with an equal to sign. And I'm assuming that since you're here for this workshop, you would know at least the basic concepts that whenever you're starting with a formula, you always start with an equal to sign. Okay. Now you are going to subtract the joining date from the resignation date. So you simply select resignation date, which is in K6, and then you put a minus sign and you select the joining date, which is in J6. Now, when you hit enter, you have got 300 here as the number of days between the two dates. So please note 300 indicates the number of dates between the days, and we do not want just the days, we want the number of years between the two dates. So I want to find out who is the employee who has been there with the organization for the longest period of time. So what I can simply do is, because I need to follow the Bodmas rule. See, here I've got days. So when I have something in days and I want to convert it into years, I will divide it by 365, right? So what I will do is I will enclose this calculation in brackets. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm using or I'm following the Bodmas concept or the Bodmas rule. A lot of times also it's called as PEMDAS or PEDMAS, okay, whatever you want to call it as. So it's parenthesis, then exponential, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So here I actually want to perform a division. So if I don't put this in a bracket, it will first perform the division and then perform the subtraction. So I want to first perform the subtraction and then the division. So whenever I want to override the sequence of operators, I will simply use brackets. So I will divide this by 365 and hit enter, and then I can double click and send this down. Okay. So here you can see, according to this, Krishna Anand is the person with the longest service of the organization. Now, let me teach you another trick, very useful in this particular case. So whenever you want to fill in information in multiple cells at the same time, you select all the cells together, okay? And then whatever you want to write, you write there and you use a shortcut, which I'm going to show you later on. Akib, you should learn Excel. If you ask me as a trainer for Excel, I feel you should learn Excel. It's a very useful thing. Okay. So the last trick for today is dealing with time values that we are going to be learning. Okay. So here we are going to start working with the shift calculation. So I want the shift in hours. I've given you the in time and the out time of the respective employees, and I want to find out which is the longest shift, or which employee has the longest shift, which employee has the shortest shift, and which is the most commonly served shift in the organization. So I'm going to keep these cells selected, and then I will start off with an equal to sign. Now I will start off with an open bracket because I will have to follow the Bodmas rule. So I will subtract the in time from the out time. So I start with the out time less the in time. Okay. So I will close my bracket. Now, please note, if I only get this calculation, let me show you what happens. I will use Control Enter instead of Enter. Okay, when I use Control Enter, it gives me all the values for all the cells. Now, what value I'm getting here is actually an incorrect value in terms of it's not giving me hours. It's obviously not 0.5 hours. So what is this actually giving me? These values that I get, they are nothing but percentages. So it's 50 percentage of 24 hours. That means the time between these two time values is 50%. That's the difference in terms of the total day. So the total day is 24 hours. Okay, so when I say 50% is 12 hours. So I actually want 12 here. I don't want 0.50. So how do I get that 12 here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these cells selected, and then I will go back to the first cell and I will multiply this by 24 to get the overall calculation. Now when I press Control Enter, it is going to give me the total shift in hours. So here I've got 12 hours as the total shift for Aryan Acharya. He happens to be the longest or the employee with the longest shift. Okay. Whereas in terms of uh, the common shift, it is, or the most commonly served shift is 7 hours, and the shortest shift is for Gloria Ahuja, that is 6 hours. So you have about 7 hours, which is going to be the most common shift for most of the employees that are there. Okay. So I think that brings us to the close for today with a lot of concepts learned, a lot of new tips and tricks that I've shared with you. I'm assuming that you will try these tricks, and if you're enjoying these things, please ensure that at the end of every single day of your boot camp, you put up something interesting on your LinkedIn profile and tag Let's Upgrade. So Let's Upgrade has an official account on LinkedIn. Please tag Let's Upgrade on LinkedIn and share your learning journey from day one to day three of your boot camp. Okay. You can even tag me as well, but please tag Let's Upgrade on LinkedIn, because this is where you will be sharing your learning journey. And one word of advice to all of you: please ensure that you use LinkedIn a lot to kind of improve your, professional, you can say the professional approach, or your professional footprint on LinkedIn. Okay. So with these last words, I would like to conclude today's session. Before I quickly wrap up, you can go ahead and you know put up your queries. So we have about a minute before we finish, and give your final comments for today's session, whether you enjoyed, and what was the, so before we close, give me the best feature that you liked for today's session very quickly, everyone. If you can give me like the best feature that you liked for today's session, it will really be great. Okay. Okay. Saurabh, how would you do the same for the service date difference? You can do the same thing, as in, I didn't get your question, but from what I understand, service date difference, again, you can select all your cells together, and then you can write your formula in the first cell, and then press Control Enter. You will get the same calculation. Today's class is very good. Cell formatting. Okay, you like cell formatting. Manish says he loves the dates. Om Bhatia, flash fill and series. Aryan liked the flash fill. Then the click and drag, date and time calculations. Learning shortcuts in between the sessions. Yes, I will keep sharing a lot of shortcuts during the session, Prasanna. So please be rest assured. Okay, I think we are now at the fag end of the session. We have already reached 8 p.m. and we have another session. So thank you everyone for being a wonderful audience, and stay tuned for the next 2 days of the uh, boot camp. And I expect to see the same enthusiasm in the next 2 days as well. So thank you, Anam madam, for your fantastic backend support, and Let's Upgrade for giving me this opportunity to interact with such a wonderful audience of about 1,000 people during the session. So I'm calling it a day for today. I will see you tomorrow at the same time at 6:30 p.m. in the evening tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Bye bye.